Bloody hell, I got cut off. So this is part 2. Right, so trauma is the gateway. Trauma awakens Wetiko. Wetiko lies in, some people say it lies in the DNA, which to an extent is true, but you know, here's the thing. If consciousness creates reality, then what is the definition of real? Right? Is DNA real? Does it even exist at all? That is something we have to ask ourselves. I know this. I do not at all like the way that the Luciferian scientists that they explain DNA, that they what's the word I'm looking for? Well, their explanation of DNA I do not like. Basically, their explanation of DNA would make us all prisoners of our own DNA, basically, and which is bullshit. I don't believe in that at all. But then they don't believe in free will. They're Darwinists. They're Luciferians. They have an agenda, and they don't believe in free will at all. They are dark determinists, is what they are, and so I don't believe in that. Yes, I believe in determinism. I also believe in free will. I know it's a paradox, but there we are. It's sort of a case of, okay, reality. What is reality? Because it's too simple to say, well, reality isn't real. Ergo, it's just all a dream. It's not real. Bloody hell, it's hot. I don't think it's quite like that. It's more complex than that. Consciousness creates reality, so it is real in a sense because consciousness is real. But it may well mean that our perception of consciousness, our perception of what's real is faulty because of being infected with Wetiko. We see reality as fixed. We are fixated on a fixed reality, a reality that is set in stone, which is perennially slanted to the dark side. It's like life is, one way or another, life, the experience of life, living within this experience, living within the system is perennially abusive. It's abusive. From the minute we're born, we are abused. The way a child is born in a hospital is abusive. That's abuse. The school system, the work is abuse because they've hijacked everything, taken everything. They make us work for money so that we may buy the bare necessities, you know, okay, whatever. And it's always set in stone. We all grow old, we all die, we're all sick. This is just the way it is. And this meme keeps playing out in our consciousness. This is all there is. This is all there is. And so that is our reality, a reality that is fixed, you know, set in stone, that is immutable. But I say that's not true, and that's an illusion, and so that isn't real. That's not real. I mean, you if you start to talk physics, which again you've got to be so careful because you can't really trust these types of people. A lot of them are beholden to the powers that be, and they will lie. But there are some people out there who are independent people, independent, and they have good minds, very good minds. And for any of us, in fact, if we have a good mind, we can observe, we can think, and we can work things out for ourselves, right? I've seen reality. Whoa. I've seen reality morph. Bear with me, people. That's just it, isn't it? So I've been getting these calls, in fact lots of them, and it's a recorded message telling me that my Amazon account I will be charged £79, and it's always some fraudsters in India, because it says, oh, press number 1 and then you speak to some guy, and I did it on purpose because I wanted to speak to somebody to give him a shitload of verbal abuse, because at this point I was like, right, this is what Wetiko does. Well, no, sorry, this is not what Wetiko does. This is what it does in the consciousness, and people behave this way. They do these things. It causes stress. It is abuse. It is trauma reinforcing. It's what a diseased consciousness does, and it's like everything in this reality is perpetually circling the fucking drain because of it. And we can blame each other as much as we like. I can blame those people calling me, trying to abuse me and steal money from me under fraudulent, for fraudulent purposes. I can do that. I feel the rage in me. I feel the hate in me. All of that is Wetiko. Wetiko wants me to react that way. It is such a nebulous, no, that's not even a word. I can't even think of the word for it, people, but I know this much. I am going to keep on paying attention. I think that if somehow Wetiko's existence in my consciousness were neutralized or harmonized or alchemized or whatever, went back to how it was meant to exist, because I actually believe it may be a natural, integral part of our consciousness that is malfunctioning. So let's say it went back to its normal pattern within our consciousness. I believe at that point we would have what you might call reset. I would transcend this reality. Well, that would not, I know, that's actually not the way to put it either, because it would just morph. It would morph. It would be the way it was before the fall, basically. Because it is perpetually being created. It is perpetually being created, it's fluid. But we don't experience it as fluid. We experience it as set in stone. We experience it as a long, drawn-out, horrendous, abusive nightmare. And within that context, we are filled with trauma. We are filled with reactive hate and rage, which is actually self-hate. But as we're in denial about the self-hate, it becomes hate externalized and projected outwards, which creates trauma. It actually hurts us as well, believe it or not, to deny the self-hate and to project it outwards, but also to project hate onto other people, to hurt others, hurts us. And all of these behaviors, all of this stuff, all of this reactivity, all of this feeding the monkey, feeding the wrong wolf, perpetuates the virus and keeps our perception of reality in place. It's as if we're walking around, right, in paradise, but we're wearing a visor very tightly around our head and around our ears, and all we can see is a broken down, horrific nightmare. Right? So sort out the Wetiko problem and the visors come off and you realise, oh, get it now. I mean, the Mandela effect shows me very clearly that reality is not fixed at all. It isn't fixed, and it's constantly being created, spiraling outwards. And the reason that we keep experiencing shit is because of Wetiko. Yeah. And the only way to neutralize Wetiko is to stop being in that state of mind. And I've come across a few people just this last kind of few days that are so filled with self-hate. It literally feels like an assault when I'm speaking to them, because they're brimming over with it. It's like nothing ever works out for me. And it comes out with such self-hate. It's just I can see the blackness coming from their mouths as they're speaking to me. Nothing ever works out for me. I'm cursed. And I'm like, whoa, that's not true. Think about this and think about that, and what about that and what about that? Everything positive, everything good is forgotten. It's like it never happened. Everything bad is focused on and blown up even more. It's like a feeding frenzy of negativity. And it's because we are living in a pivotal time now. I call it the Great Healing, right? So it's this Herxheimer reaction thing where, I don't know, man, the Schumann resonance, woo, light coming in, something is happening, and it's Herxheimer time. So it's all coming up, and it's very, very hard to have to remain sane. Yeah, sorry guys about these, but my eyes are sore and I have issues at the moment, so the light's a bit, you know. But yeah, one cannot always stand in the light. Sometimes one loses the plot altogether because it can come on so strong. The trauma will come up. I call this the pressure cooker effect, that we're literally overwhelmed by it. When this happens, if you tune in, you find that there is always a part of you that's there supporting you, facilitating for you, as it were, and telling you that, yes, it's a purge. But of course, on the other side, your malfunctioning consciousness, it is hurling it at you like stones, like you're being stoned or something, isn't it? And every stone is a horrible negative thought. This is going to happen to you, don't you know? Something is going to happen to you, you know? And it's always something horrible that makes you feel terrified. That is gut-wrenching, you know, that type of anxiety where you're literally hurting in your gut. It's always that. It's always self-attacking, self-torturing. Yes. This, I don't experience this as a creature external to me doing this to me, because I know full well this lies in my own consciousness. Trauma woke it up, and there it is, the trauma. Ooh, I can't trust. I'm going to trust that dark voice telling me that all the bad things are going to happen. Yes, I'm going to trust that, because look at my life, look at everything I've been through, look at the world around me. So this is the truth. So you get any kind of positivity, which feels very sound if you think about it, telling you, no, that's lying to you. Trust yourself, trust this higher self, trust that. This gets very angry and goes, well, you're lying, you're trying to deceive me. So there is an indication of some sort of betrayal that happened way back. And I think we're talking about the fall, because I had an interesting little experience this morning. I was reading about something to do with telepathy, and it came to me, just this vision in my head about, do you remember when we were all telepathic? And I had this it was like a second, like very quick. And so for a moment I thought, I'm just losing the plot. Wetiko always tells you that. It always tells you to second guess yourself. It always tells you to doubt yourself. It always tells you that, you were just, losing the plot. No. All bullshit. See, before the fall we were this magnificent, we were magical beings living in a magical world, perpetually creating. It was amazing. Then something happened and Wetiko entered the fray. Trauma entered the fray. And by the by, because it didn't happen all at once, though we knew something had shifted straight away. It was like something we knew. And it fell by degrees, it fell. Hence we had Lemuria, we had Atlantis, we had all these so-called great civilizations, but they all happened after the fall, people. So they weren't really all that great. Everything after the fall was perpetually declining till the point now where, well, it's very dark, and our consciousness is now so profoundly stupid, which is why it's so difficult to do these videos and really talk about things like the fall, or reality not being quite real. It is real, but it isn't, because these are all very mystical topics that are very difficult to put into words. This is the point, the Herxheimer reaction, the clearing out, the purging out, the parasite cleanse that has been happening these kind of, I don't know, last few years is very much intensifying now as well, of course. But this is what awakening is. Awakening basically is the more of that Wetiko is being cleansed out, the more intelligent we become, the more we can see what's what. And we can understand these higher concepts better with greater clarity. That's it. So all we can do, people, and I do advise any one of us who are on this journey and who are serious about walking this path of discovery, going inwards and owning this shit, rather than choosing to be perpetual victims and blaming everything and everyone else and existing in hell consciousness. I mean, for all of those who want to do that, good luck with that. Obviously, nothing to do with me, I don't want to know. But yes, observe yourself, your mind, your feelings, everything. Observe. Listen to the thoughts in those dark, dark days where it really, you know, you'll see what it does. How it's, you know, how it's just, it's so abusive, and how it is a perfect mirror of this world, which is just abuse, you know. But go within. Take it within. Always take everything that happens, take it within yourself, because you'll find all the answers there. Always. Right? And keep a journal and write stuff down, and you will find that more and more you will get insights, you will get eureka moments, you will have these quantum leaps of consciousness, because you are healing. Your consciousness is healing. It may not feel that way when you have these really dark moments where you feel completely you know, but yes, we are healing, and it's, you know, it's something that we can, you know, that we just yeah, sorry, I'm not very good at putting this into words at the moment, and I'm not very with it today, because I have not had a good night's sleep, and like I said, it's been really tough going these last few days, you see. But yeah, see, this is what I wrote down. Consciousness is real, so anything it creates is real, but real does not mean set in stone, immutable. It doesn't mean limitation. Anything can be done, can be undone, can be transformed, can be continually recreated. It's our perception of reality that is wrong, you see. It's our perception of it. Our consciousness is a fluid thing. It's a fluid thing. It's Wetiko that creates fixity and perpetual misery, suffering, powerlessness, with this self-hate, this trauma-induced self-hate that is focused outward. And people totally get stuck in that trap. It's also when we feel it stirring within ourselves, the hate, the rage. Like I said, sometimes we often enough it can get so strong that we lose the plot and we're in it. We're just in it. I find TRE, trauma releasing exercises, are very, very helpful. Epsom salt baths are very helpful. And loving self-talk and just coach yourself. Coach yourself. Take your power back. Don't just sit there and let it abuse you. Take your power back. Support yourself. Love yourself. Loving self-talk is very important. Self-support. And yeah, there are times where, like I've said this before, it's just full on. These last few days have been really bad. It's been like a full frontal assault. But we do get through it. It is a Herxheimer reaction. It is a purge. So, yeah, that's all for today, people. And, well, I'll speak to you again soon. Mwah.